Fear is actually a very powerful emotion, and we see people make choices, make decisions, quite possibly rash decisions, all based on fear. And one of these fears includes the fear of missing out, or FOMO, which is unfortunate because in today's economy, in today's market, FOMO is ultimately going to put a lot of people in a serious financial bind, okay? Where they no longer make logical decisions, financial choices and decisions when inflation numbers are up, prices are up, increases are up, a recession is up, possible market crash is up. FOMO, or fear of missing out, with that leading towards being a consumer, a heavy debt burdened consumer, is going to potentially put a lot of people in a financial bind, in a huge risk. And I've seen this happen recently, and I'm seeing it happening more, not only here in my local, hyper local market, especially with the impulse decisions and choices made by tourism, leading consumers to overspending and overindulging, but also from the emails and DMs and messages on Patreon and clients and, people that have enlisted my services to help them in their journey, on their path. And one of the main areas that I see this happening is actually in one of the largest purchases that anyone will ever really make, unless you're Elon Musk and you purchase Twitter for multiple billions of dollars. For the most part, average people, they're going to see their largest purchase being their home, a house, a primary residence, maybe even an investment property. And with the current direction that the economy is going, that the jobs market's going, that interest rates are going, there are a lot of folks out there who are afraid. They're afraid of missing out. Now, this fear can lead you down the path of going to a Cadillac dealership and potentially dropping $120,000, $130,000, maybe even $150,000 on a new Cadillac Escalade. This could lead you down the path of going to a Range Rover dealership and buying a new Range Rover Sport, or a what was the other one? The Mercedes dealership, and buying a G550, G63, G-Wagon, G63 4x4 squared. And these could set you back hundreds of thousands of dollars on the newest, latest and greatest vehicle that has hit the market, that's available for purchase or lease. And your fear of missing out on having the newest vehicle, the newest car, the drive out tag being, the newest car in the block, in your driveway, in your garage, or, at work, so that everybody can be, enthralled and envious of your ability to make these choices, these purchases, these financing obligations, these debt burdens. But when it comes to real estate and housing, the fear of missing out is coming from being able to sell for profit, for theoretically a tremendous profit, before the housing market crash goes into effect, before prices start to plummet, before the bottom falls out, before we hit rock bottom, which any real estate agent, any real estate professional, any realtor professional will tell you that a housing market crash will happen. The big question is when. However, for some, this fear of missing out puts them in a position of selling at a time where it's more so a neutral playing field, or potentially a buyer's market more so than a seller's market. And we're seeing homes on the market for longer periods of time. We're seeing less contract engagements. We're seeing closing prices coming in at or below asking. Things are kind of getting back to normal. But the great equalizer here is that interest rates are on the rise. They're getting high. I mean, we're nearing the point of which great credit, preferred high qualified applicants who go through underwriting with excellent credit are going to receive an interest rate over 10%. We're heading down that path. But the problem with that is that if you have a fear of missing out on the sale, that just means that you're going to potentially list and sell your home at a time when you really shouldn't. A time where it would then put you into the buyer pool category, which could potentially give you some leverage, but at what cost? At what price? Because the housing market hasn't crashed yet. Therefore, you would sell your home and potentially find yourself moving into a new home that you purchased that you didn't actually really want, or even on the flip side, renting a home, renting a house, renting a townhouse, renting a condo or a apartment, something to get you by while rent prices are on the rise. All because the fear of missing out drove you to do something that was not really the best move for everyone. Now, everybody's situation is going to be unique. Everybody's situation is going to be different, okay? However, if you don't need to sell your home, if you don't really want to sell your home, if you don't have a plan and strategy for where you're going to go and what you're going to buy after you sell your home, and you're just solely worried about, well, I've got a lot of equity and I want to capitalize on this, then you're going to potentially put yourself in a situation where you'll capture that gain on this equity appreciation, but you're going to lose it, multiple folds over on the next move, the next jump. Now, I'll tell you one of the things that I saw today that I just honestly, I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I saw it. And it was an SUV. I think it was an Audi. It might have been an Audi or a Nissan. They all started to look the same now. It had a Texas plate on it, Texas tag. And you could see we were at a stoplight, and there's a driver, looked like a man, and the passenger in the front seat looked like a woman, and the back seat appeared to be empty, okay? However, there were 3 occupants in the vehicle, and the third occupant was a small child. And the small child was sitting on the woman's lap in the front seat. And I'm thinking to myself, why is this happening? What was the thought process here? And again, this goes into people and potentially making bad choices and bad decisions on a whim, not realizing just how costly they could be in the long run in a blink of an eye. The baby, the child, the infant sitting on this woman's lap in the front seat, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're here on vacation. They didn't have a car seat. So instead of letting the baby roll around in the back seat, they sat in the front seat with the parent. I don't know. But it's a really dangerous situation, because I'm thinking to myself, if by chance there were to be a collision and the airbag were to deploy, even at a low speed, it would probably kill that child. I mean, literally, inches away from the dashboard where the airbag rests, and coming out at over 100 miles an hour is going to probably be the end of that child's life. Only to look back on it and say, we were only going to the store for a quick second. We were just going, a couple blocks. I didn't think anything of it. We have to do better. We have to make smarter choices. We have to make better decisions overall and in general, not just in the financial world and in our household and personal and business, financial, economic portfolios and decisions, but just in general, because unfortunately, the reasoning and logic and rationale behind some of these choices will carry over into other important decisions, like, I don't know, the fear of the market crashing and cashing out your 401k in an attempt to save your retirement at a great penalty and a great cost and a great loss. As you know, time in the market is far more important than timing the market. And potentially pulling this money out of a 401k, maybe collecting Social Security, FRA, before full retirement age, collecting Social Security early, trying to get a hold and access to money before it's gone, before it's wiped out, before it disappears, before there's a Social Security shortfall, before there's a debt ceiling budget crisis that interrupts Social Security payments. So when you're thinking about Social Security, you're thinking about your retirement, you're thinking about your 401k, you're thinking about stocks, you're thinking about the economy, you're thinking about the market, you're thinking about the data, the trends, the headlines, the reports coming out of, folks like Kramer. Potentially and essentially scaring folks into this fear, this FOMO, that could have long-lasting, extremely detrimental effects that impact them for the rest of their lives based on a split-second decision.